Well, it all started off in primary school, my bullying story, and I got picked on a fair bit in primary school, but nowhere near as bad as at high school. It just got a lot worse. I didn't really have too many friends at the start, and it was a real struggle from grade 8 to grade 10. But bullying was a big problem for me in school, mainly my early years, late primary school and early high school. I went to a big high school where I didn't have too many friends. No one from my school went to my high school, and it was a struggle. I got picked on. The name calling was hard because I guess I probably wasn't that mentally strong at that stage that I could ignore those things being said to me, and then it turned into physical bullying where I had guys just constantly pushing me around, kneeing me to the stomach, punching me when I'm not looking, things like that. So there was a lot of incidences like that.
I first got into boxing when I was around 12 years of age. I had an unfortunate event at a movie theatre in Townsville where you had to walk outside to go to the toilet. I walked outside to go to the toilet down a dark alley. I was confronted by a male who slammed my head into the wall while I was at the urinal, dragged me out into the alley, and I had no idea hadn't done anything at all, so this was just totally unprovoked and bashed, all my hair pulled out, bashed around really badly by this adult, so it was quite a shock. Went to the police and they wouldn't do anything about it, so I decided I had to do something to protect myself. I said this will never ever happen to me again, and I made a vow that night I'd become my own best bodyguard because I knew I'd always be with myself every second of every day for the rest of my life.
I took up boxing when I just finished school because I was going to be going out clubbing and stuff with my new girlfriend Joanna, which is my wife now, but I didn't want kind of bad things to happen when I was out, and I wanted to be confident.
One of the things that I found about martial arts is people often say to me, yeah, but what if you train for 10 years? You may never get into a fight or a situation where you need it, and isn't that just a waste of 10 years? And I used to always say to them, and I still do, that you can't put a price on peace of mind. A peace of mind to feel totally safe, anywhere, any time, just that feeling of just comfort and peace and freedom and just safety. It doesn't matter how bad the situation gets. You can be at a party, it can be a problem erupt, a lot of people are getting angry, and you just feel so calm inside. And I said, you can't put a price on that. And I often say to these people, it's that because you've studied and become so good, that's why you haven't got into any fights. That's the reason, because you just exude that sense of confidence and calmness when people think you should be agitated. And that's a very, very important thing, is that feeling. And that's a feeling that I want to get out to a lot of people, because a lot of people certainly don't have that. In Australia, there's just under 4 million students. So it's 3.8 or something like that, but it's close to 4 million students, and 1 in 4 children are being bullied on a regular basis. That's 1 million kids daily that have been bullied, and that's a lot. And this isn't even, of course, talking about in the workplace, because bullying at school, if you carry that victim mentality when you leave school, it's going to follow you through the rest of your life. So it's not just a problem in schools. This is affecting society as a whole. So we've got 1 million kids out there being bullied on a regular basis. We have to do something about this, and the best place is to start with the children, with the schools. We could start with the workplace, but that's not gonna, we're just gonna keep feeding more and more of these victims into society. So we have to go back to the root of the problem and get these kids where this starts. It's a little bit like Back to the Future, you know, you've got to go back to where this problem starts. And a lot of it does start in primary school, okay, particularly from grades 5 to 6 in those later years. Normally grades 1 to 4 aren't too bad, but as you get towards 5 and 6, kids start to grow up a little bit, it does become more prevalent. Also, we're trying to get these children ready then to step into high school, which is a big jump for kids, so when they go from primary to high. So if we can get these children at that age and give them the skills of how to cope, then we can change the whole world. We can change society. We can change schools, which will change our workforce, which will change our country.
Look, AMAYDA represents the solution to this problem, I think. It will give the kids confidence, because I think the bullies out there at the moment are the ones only doing it because they feel like something's lacking in themselves that they've got to put someone else down to lift themselves up. So I think this program in AMAYDA will teach them the discipline and self-respect, that they'll be able to respect themselves and have the confidence not to have to put someone else down.
And AMAYDA has this step-by-step program, and that's the key. Taking people through, just like a school curriculum, step by step, everything in the right order, the right sequence of events, to where we eventually develop these kids that they have the skills to handle any situation that they may find going to school, going home from school, whilst they're at school, whilst they're on the internet. They have the skills, they have the techniques to be able to deal with this, but it takes time. So AMAYDA is the only solution that I see where we can take kids 1 hour a week after school for a full year. Okay, and we can do that in grades 5 and 6. We can repeat it as soon as they get to high school in grade 7, and we can repeat that again in grades 11 and 12 before they go out into the real world where the problems are only going to get worse. So AMAYDA to me is the only solution that can work on a long-term basis.
This sounds great. This is actually doing something constantly that will change the mindset of kids in Australia.
You've just heard some very powerful conversation from Glenn Rushton and Jeff Horn about why they're so committed and why they formed an alliance with AMAYDA. It's very, very important now, the next step that you take, to register your child. Click the registration button, select your school, and it will take you step by step through the process so that you can secure your child's spot in this program, as we believe the greatest gift you can give your child is the gift of confidence.